I'm Bill Nye with NA News. Our top story of the day, young boy Will Tweety gets caught in a train trestle with an oncoming train. Hayes Ritchie with more information. Thanks, Bill. I'm Hayes Ritchie. I'm reporting on location at a standardized train track for NA News. The distance between these two steel beams is 3 feet 6 inches. They are running parallel as far as the eye can see in both directions. For my report, I need you kind viewers at home to remember that this is not a train trestle. A train trestle is a train track that runs on a bridge made of wood and sometimes steel. We were not able to film there because it violates union rules. Now here we have a train trestle, much like the one young Will Tweety would have found himself caught on. We interviewed the young man and he recounted the events of what happened that day. He says the morning started out like many others, with fishing. He decided to fish atop the train trestle because he enjoyed, in his own words, looking through the cross ties at the water below. He set up his fishing pole in one of the ties and explored the trestle. It was at this time when his dog, not pictured here, raised his head to listen. This in turn prompted young Will to put his head down to the rail, where he heard the clickety-clack of a train coming toward the trestle. He began to run away from the oncoming train, but was unable to make it off the trestle in time. He says that the only thing going through his mind at that moment was the word fall. The train then passed over him, leaving him relatively unscathed. We also asked him how he was doing after the experience, and he said that he was just happy he had survived. Back to you in the studio, Bill.
And we're live.
Thank you, Hayes, for that riveting report. We have brought in a train specialist via satellite to discuss this incident further. We have with us today Chad Groening, an expert on trains from Jackson Railroads. Chad, could you tell us more about this incident?
I'm happy to be here today. Young Will might have not got through it if he didn't use his quick thinking to lay down on the train tracks. That is not usual for most people. Usually they would just stand there and get hit by the train. Thankfully, he ducked.
That's interesting, Chad. So how much space would young Will have between his body and the undercarriage of the train?
Well, that's a very interesting question. You see, it varies by the type of locomotive that is going over the train tracks, but thankfully this was a DR 1976, so it had a clearance of about 22 inches, which means young Will would have had about 6 inches to spare.
Thank you, Chad, for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us. After the break, our top technology story: are video games making kids violent, or are parents just getting worse at parenting?